Hello everyone, welcome to another session of the 10-week analytics bootcamp. Today we're going to be talking about data cleaning. Firstly, what is data cleaning? Data cleaning involves various techniques and methods used to prepare raw data for further analysis or processing. It can also mean the process of removing dirt from data for further analysis. So what is a good example of a clean data? A clean data is data that is complete, correct, and relevant to the problem you are trying to solve. So for example now, a clean data for problem A can be a dirty data for problem B. So what really determines whether a data is clean is the problem you're trying to solve or the type of analysis you're trying to carry out. What are the common types of data cleaning problem that we have? We have the missing values. These include identifying missing values in data sets and deciding on how to handle them. We have duplicate data sets when a row, repetition of rows within a data set. So identifying and removing duplicate records or entries in the data set to ensure data integrity and accuracy. Standardizing data. This involves standardizing formats across data fields, such as date format, numeric format, and text case. Another one is outliers, handling of outliers. Identifying outliers, extreme or unusual data points, and deciding whether to remove them, transform them, or treat them separately based on the domain knowledge. Data transformation. This includes converting data types, e.g., converting text to numerical values. Another thing is dealing with typos and inconsistent data. Correcting typos, inconsistencies, spelling errors in text data to ensure data consistency and accuracy. And the last one of it is feature engineering. Feature engineering is creating new features or variables from existing data to enhance data analysis, such as deriving age from birth date. Uh, Data cleaning processes can be categorized into two main types. We have the general data cleaning process and the problem-specific data cleaning process. So what is the general data cleaning process? The general data cleaning process involves a set of standard procedure and techniques that are typically applied to raw data to prepare it for analysis or further processing. These procedures are often independent of a specific problem or domain of the data and are aimed at improving data quality, consistency, and usability. This means that no matter the domain or the types of analysis you're trying to carry out, this is a compulsory data cleaning process that every data or dirty data must pass through. Now, general data cleaning process often involves standardized techniques such as handling of missing values, removing duplicate values, standardizing data formats, and addressing outliers within the data sets. These techniques are broadly applicable across different types of data and problems. Now, the next one, problem-specific data cleaning process. Problem-specific data cleaning process are tailored to address data issues that are specific to a particular problem domain, analysis task, or industry. Let's take for example now. Let's say I have a data set for a supermarket that contains the unit price and the quantity of goods sold. Now, for my analysis, I wanted to calculate the revenue generated by each product. Now, the revenue column is not added to the data set. So for me to be able to carry out the analysis, I have to create the revenue column. Now, creating a revenue column is specific to the problem I'm trying to solve. So that's an example of problem-specific data cleaning process. Problem-specific data cleaning requires domain knowledge and expertise to identify and address data issues that are relevant to the specific problem or domain. So before you can carry out this type of cleaning, you have to understand the data sets you are working with and the domain knowledge. You have to have the domain knowledge of the analysis you are trying to carry out. Problem-specific data cleaning may involve customized techniques or transformation that are designed to address unique data challenges or requirements. Problem-specific data cleaning process are aligned with the goals of the data analysis. So problem-specific data cleaning are actually determined by the goal of the analysis. Now, let's go to the practical aspect. For this data cleaning session, we are going to be looking at a data set known as the Audible data set. The data set contains information such as the audiobook authors, release dates that spans from 1998 to 2005, 2025, and many more features. Let's look at the data set to have a better understanding of the data we're working with. Okay, so this is the data set we are going to be using for our data cleaning session. Like I explained earlier, it's called the audiobook data set. And these are the variables that we have in this data set. So the first one is the name. So the name is the name of the audiobook, each audiobook. And the next one is the author of the audiobook. We have the narrator of the audiobook. So time in terms of like duration of the audiobook. We have the release dates. We have the language of the audiobook. We have the star rating, and we have the price. So for this particular data set, we have to check the number of rows present in this data set. And by selecting the column, we can come to the count here. So select all the column. So when we check the count, we notice that we have 10,215 rows, which is a very good one for us to start. Now, me looking at the data set, I'm very, very sure we can identify some of the problem or cleaning issue that this data set that it has. But before we start, we have to document our process of cleaning. So we have to analyze, okay, what are the first thing we are going to take? So the first thing we are going to be looking at is the general data cleaning process. So we are going to be looking at missing value, if there's missing value within the data set, if there's duplicates, and if there's outliers. So those are the first thing we are going to be looking at. So let me create like a note for documenting our process and cleaning data because it's very, very, very important. And while you are cleaning your data, it is very, very important to make a duplicate of the original data set. So make a duplicate of the original data set so in case something go wrong, you can easily revert back to it and continue your data cleaning. So it is very, very, very important to do that. So these are the data cleaning process we are going to be carrying out on this data set. So for the first one, we are going to be checking for missing values within the data set, missing values or no values, like I explained earlier in our presentation. So we are going to be looking at missing value. So that's the first thing. So how do we check for missing value in this data set now? How do we look for the missing value? So we can look for the missing value in data set by checking the number of missing values we have in each row, in each column. So we have to determine the number of missing value we have in each column. So how do we do that? So we can do that by checking, by counting the number of blanks cell within each column. So I can just do that. So if I come here now and use the function, we're going to be using count blank to determine that. So count blank and A2 to the last cell, which is a this. So I press enter, and this is telling me there is no missing value in the name of the audiobook. That's the first column. So I can apply this to the other one just to check. So okay, then we identify some missing value in some of the columns. So for this particular column, which is the time duration of the audiobook, we have two missing value. And for this particular one, which is the stars rating of the variable, we have one missing values and also we have one missing value in the price. So the missing value has been identified. So there's missing value in this data set. So what we need to do is this. Since we have seen that the quantity of missing value are not that much, one thing we can do is that we remove or replace it with another thing. But in this case, we are removing the missing value. So before you can remove the missing value, you have to check the quantity of missing value present in the whole data set. Any missing value that is beyond 20% of the data set, it is very, very, very bad for you to remove it, remove the rows. So what you can do is, first of all, you have to check back to the source of the data to see whether is there anything wrong while collecting the data? Because removing 20 or 40% of data set that we have here can affect the result on the long run. So, or you can look at, okay, how well can I replace the missing value? You can replace missing value by the mean value or the median value if it's a numeric data set. And if it's a categorical data set, you can impute the missing value by replacing it with mode. But while you are doing that, it's actually going to affect data integrity in the long run. So one thing you need to do is just to check back to the source of data to see why there's missing value and look at the way we can rectify it. But those are the two ways we rectify missing value by imputing, replacing it with another value, which usually for numeric value is always the mean or median value. And for the categorical data is actually for with the mode. So that's that. So first of all, let me delete this one. So going back to the top. So we identify the missing values. So what we need to do is that just I want to filter out the missing value since I want to see the rows that contain missing values. So I'm going to enable the filter option here and come to the price. You say the price has two missing values, so I can check down and you can see there's blank there. So I type in uh blank to bring out the missing value. So blank. Uncheck the box and select only blank. So this is the rows that has the missing value. Now another thing we can consider with missing value is this. If a particular column contains a very high volume of missing value, so you have to check is the column really important in the analysis. If the column is not really important in the analysis, it's better for us to remove the column that contains the highest missing value rather than removing the rows that contain the missing value. That is if the missing value are large. And you find out that majority of the missing values coming from a particular row, maybe sorry, I say a particular column. Probably a column contains more of missing value than the other. So you have to check, do I really need this column for my analysis? If it's not really needed, it's better for us to remove the column rather than removing the row of the missing value. For this case, I'm going to be missing the row that contain the missing value. So filter that I'm going to be deleting this because I actually need the price for my analysis and I need the time. And those two variables are missing in this row of data. So I'm going to delete this one and bring it back to the default. Yes. So the next one is we also have missing value under the release. Sorry, the time. So we have missing value. So let's check this. So this is let's just type in black. So uncheck this and I can remove this and then that's clear this filter. So let's check back for the under the name. Let's check the name. Do we have missing value under the name? Okay, there's no missing value here. So let's check back to see whether we still have any missing value from our data set by just going back to uh checking the number of blank cells. So equals to count blank. So 8 to the last one. So close the bracket and drag this to the other cell. And we can see that there's no missing value anymore. So the missing values are clear. So there's no blank or missing value. So that's that. So that's the first process of our data cleaning. Now the next one we want to do now is checking for duplicate values. So that's the next one. Duplicate values. Duplicate values are like a repetition of a particular row. So repetition of a row. So let's check. It does. We have to remove duplicate values because it's just like you're having one row like twice and it doesn't really speak well to our data integrity. So now to remove the duplicate rows, we have to highlight all the data sets. So we have to highlight all the data sets to remove duplicate rows. Then we come to data tab. Under the data tab, under the data tools that we have here, beside the text column, you see the remove duplicate option here. So when I click on remove duplicate option, it's asking me, bring in dialog box, on what column do I want to remove the duplicate? So I want to remove duplicate from all the columns of the data set. So if I click OK, it's telling me that three duplicate values found and removed. So we have duplicate values data set and it has been removed. So now what we have next is 10,209 unique values. So that's how to remove duplicate values from your data set in normal Excel. So duplicate value has been removed now. So the next thing we have to check is our column, and let's look at how we can the next one is standardizing. No, before we move to standardizing data set, let's check for outliers. Outliers in our data set. So majority of time we have outliers in numeric data sets. So sorry, numeric columns. Majority of time we have outliers in numeric values. When I mean by outliers, like I explained earlier, these are extreme values. It can be towards the lower side or the higher side. So one of the things I'm going to check for outlier is here. Let's check, for example, now our price column. We want to check if there's outliers within our price column. How can we identify outliers? Outliers will be identified by we by the domain expertise. You know,
by the domain expertise and from your knowledge of the data set. So you'll be able to identify which of the range of this data set is classified as an outlier and which of it is not classified as an outlier. For example, now, based on my own understanding of this, so checking the price of these books now, I wanted to like, okay, any price that is higher than 2,000 naira, $2,000 is an outlier for me. Because an audiobook should not sell for more than $2,000. So we have anything, or let me just put it at $3,000. Let's say $3,000. So an audiobook that sells for $3,000 and above is an outlier to me because that's a huge amount of money for an audiobook. So that's my criteria. For example, any value that is higher than $3,000 in terms of price is an outlier for this data set. So how can I identify the outliers and figure it out from this data set now? Now, I can identify the outliers by using the data validation option. No, sorry, by using conditional formatting. We explained the conditional formatting the other time just to highlight rules that meet a particular criteria. So in this case now, I want to highlight rules from this data set that the price is higher than $3,000. So that will direct you that this is the particular rule that has outliers in the price column. So how do I do that? So I need to highlight the whole cell again to add the conditional formatting formula here. So I come to O. So from the conditional formatting, I click on new rules. So use formula and just a minute. So let's take this one back up here now. So I come to conditional formatting, new rule, use formula to determine this. Then I can select the price column like we did for one of our classes. So for this one, I have to remove the dollar sign in front of 2. So if this value is greater than 3,000, I want you to flag it. For me, that's an outlier. So if this particular column is greater than 3,000, flag the column. So flag the row. So then I will highlight it with probably a color. Let me just use a few in this case. So I'm going to be using probably red. Let's use red for this. So click OK and OK. And it might be hard for me to like be looking if the data is like to be scrolling up and down to like identify which row this particular I have flagged with my conditional format. So what I can do is this: I can filter the row out if there's any row that contains missing value. So from the price column, I just click on the filter and I use sort by column. You can see I have some rows that has been flagged uh, by the conditional formatting. So that contains that layer. So I'm going to filter them out. So for example, now we have some rows that are flagged here. And example of them is majority of them are free. Why so for example now we have a price of something that is $10,000 and we have another price here that is $3,000. We have another price here that is $4,000, and we have another price here that is what's it called now? That is $4,000. Now, normally the price of an audiobook should not, for me, based on my domain expertise and domain knowledge now, I don't feel like the price of an audiobook should be up to like $100,000 or $3,000. That's why I flag it. For this particular case, I'm going to be removing the rules that contains this range of value. Now, free is still achievable for this. You can still, we have some audiobooks are free, so we are not going to be removing the free column. So the ones that we're going to be deleting is the one that contains 3,000 and above, and these are the things that we have here. So I'm going to be deleting this rule and delete this other rule here too. Delete the rule and delete this other rule. Don't actually know why this one flagged the free though, but that's alright. So we cannot clear conditional formatting for this. So it's actually clear entire sheet. So that is that one. So we actually remove the outliers from the dataset by using conditional formatting. So the next one, let's clear this one out. So the next one we want to check now is, so remove the outliers from the data set. So the next one is standardizing our data. Standardizing, putting everything in the correct format or the way it should be. So one of the examples of standardizing the format of data set is if you check the author and the narrator name. Author should contain the author name, while the narrator should contain the uh, narrator name. But for this case now, we are having written by, then the author name, and narrated by. So for us, we have to remove all those written by because we don't really need it for our analysis. Those are just, you can say those are just news, or sorry, jargons. So we have to remove it. So in this case now, I'm going to be removing the name of the author alone. And I noticed that what really separates the name of the author and the written by is a column. There's a column between the two of them. So I can use that as a delimiter to separate the what? To separate the name of the author. So I'm going to create a new column here, author name. So now to extract the author name from this, I'm going to be using a function known as text after. So if you check Excel, now if you type in text, we have several options here. We have the text split, text join, text after, text before, stuff like that. So for this case now, since I'm extracting data after the column, then I'm going to be using text before. So if I use text after rather. So if I use text after, it's asking me which text do I want to remove. So I want to remove this. And what is the delimiter that separates the text into two equal parts? So it's the column. So I'm going to put in the column in what's it called now? In quotes, column, and close the brackets. Then you can see I already have my name, so I can apply referencing to this to get me the other names of the author. So I have the author name. So I can actually remove this column since it's not really needed. But before I remove it, let me copy this one. This one is a formula. So when you are copying and pasting it, you have to copy it and paste it in the form of a value, not as formula. So I'm copying it now. I'm adding it here. So I'm going to paste as value. So I already pasted that. So now I delete this column because it's not really needed anymore. Delete this. So we can also do the same for the narrator. So just remove the um so insert a column here and remove the narrator name. Don't let us give it what is narrated by is not needed. So narrator name, so narrator name. Sorry. So we are using text after too. So equals to text. You can see they also have the same delimiter for this one. Text after, select the text, comma, and quotes. Put in quotes. Um, put in quotes. So we have this and actually we have actually removed that. So that goes to this. So I can copy this also and paste it here as a value and delete this column. So the next other thing we have to check for standardizing our data is the case of the data set. Now, majority of time when we are getting data from the source, majority of them, some of the data set are always in lower case, while some are in higher case. So this one actually violate the consistency rules of the data set. So every data set must be in the same case. If everything is in lower case, they have to be in lower case. If everything is upper case, you have to be in upper case. So another thing we have to check again is the trailing space. Trailing space are space or before or after a text. And this really caused a lot of inconsistency issue in data set. For example, now if a particular name has a trailing space before or after it, now it will look as if the name appeared twice. Meanwhile, it's just the trailing space that make it look like that. So if I have Ade, if I have Emmanuel, and one of the Emmanuel name has a trailing space before or after it, it's going to be saying the Emmanuel as like two different name. And in reality, they are the same thing. So trailing space is very, very important to remove trailing space. And let's remove trailing space and convert it back to also convert everything to the same case. So trailing space is equals to trim. So if you remove trailing space, you use trim. So you use that for text data set a lot. So trim, and you can apply this to the next cell. So we have trimmed the cells and copy it. Let's copy and paste a value. So this one is the auto name. So you can delete this one. So we can also remove the, can also capitalize that, convert everything to lowercase. Yeah, I think it's very better convert it to lowercase. So lower. So you select the text and press enter. So this is auto name also. So that's that. Let's copy it again. So nice. So these are actually be standardized. So the auto name has been standardized. We remove duplicates. We remove trailing space. We convert everything to the same case. So this auto name is standardized this way now. So the next one is just narrator name. You can also do that for the same, for narrator name, the same thing. To insert. So I want to remove the trailing space here. Equals to trim. So trim. Select. Okay, close the brackets and enter. And copy everything. So paste as value and delete this one. So the next one we want to do is of, I made a mistake. Okay. So insert another column and for this now we want to like convert it into the same case also. So lower equals to lower, sorry. Equals to lower. Close brackets and okay. Copy and paste as value. So you can delete this one. So this is the narrator name. So this is clean now. So another thing we have to check in standardizing the data set is this. So if we come to this release date is actually in a mess. So we have some of the release date in text format while we have some of them in date format. You can see those that are aligned towards the left hand side are stored in text format, but those that are aligned towards the right hand side are seen as date formats. Now, this issue has to be dealt with because all the date column has to be in the same format before we can do anything or analyze the data set. So majority of times, what really causes this date format issue is this. Let's say, for example, the original state of the data, the format at which the data is being saved from the original source. And if you import the data, if the format at which they are being saved, the original source, is quite different from the format you have on your system, that's when we have this type of issue now. So for example, now from the original source, this date format is stored in day, month, and year. But the format I have on my system is month, day, and year. So that's why there's a kind of like contradicting thing between the original date format and my own system date format. So what we can do to rectify this issue is to convert this date to its original date format. Because when I load into my my own Excel is converting to my own date format. So what I need to do is just convert it to the original format as which the date is being saved from the onset. How do we do that now? So we can do that by using the text to column function. So what I need to do is just highlight the column that contains the date. So after highlighting the column that contains the date, so I go to data tab, go to data tab. So from data tab, you can see the text to column option here. So select the text to column option. So when you select text column, it's going to bring this dialog box of like, okay, is your text delimited or anything? Now, I'm not really concerned about whether my text is delimited. So I just want to change the format of the date. So I'm going to select fixed width, just leave it as fixed width and click on next. So when I click on next, it's showing this thing. I click on next again. So when I get to this convert text to column part that has to do with the format of the column, now it's in general. So I have to convert it to date. Now, when I select the date, see the format at which the date is saved here is month, day, year, and that's the format of my system, and that's the my system date format, month, day, year. But the data set that we have is stored in day, month, year. So what we need to do is just convert it to the original state or original date format that the date colon has been saved initially. So I'm going to select, you can see we have day, month, year here. So this is the original format data, date format is been saved. So I select that. After select that, I click on finish. And you can see it has converted the date to the original date format. And that is that one. So the other one that looks like it that we want to check now is, so we check most of the general data cleaning issue, which is missing value, duplicate values, and higher standardizing data format. Now let's look at the problem specific data cleaning process. If you check this time that I have here, I have the time column, which is the duration of the audiobook. So majority of them are in minutes. And let's also check the other format where this thing is being saved. So I'm going to click on ins filter now to see all of them. You can see we have some of them 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 hour, 10 minutes. So this the time format is not stored in the appropriate format that I need. And I needed the time for me to like carry out some analysis. Probably I want to find out the average time and the probably the average the audiobook with the uh highest duration. Now, if this particular column or this particular column is needed for my analysis, then I have to preprocess it. But if it's not really needed for further analysis, I don't end up doing anything with that. I can just delete the column since I don't really need the time for any analysis. That's what I mean by problem specific. But for this type of data set, I want to analyze the audiobook by the average time and see the audiobook that has the maximum time and stuff like that. So I needed the time column for my analysis. So that's why I need to like what clean it and preprocess it. So that's an example of problem specific data cleaning. So for this one now, what I can do is this, since I have different format of data, so I have some of them in 1 hour, some of them in this thing. First of all, I have to extract the numbers from the time column. After extracting the number, I have to identify which one of them are in hours and which one of them are in minutes. For them to now convert everything to the same unit, is that I convert it to hour or I convert it to minute. But in this case, unit is the lowest, minute is the lowest unit, so I'm going to convert everything to minutes. But for me to do that, I have to extract the number and know the uh numbers that we have for the hours and the numbers that we have for the minutes for me to be able to like convert it to minutes. So to do that now, I can use text to column to split or to extract the numbers, but there will be a confusion here. So please, one of them have 1 hour 55 minutes, 2 hours 30 minutes, and some has just 10 minutes, some have 1 hour. So when I'm extracting number, I won't know which one falls into hour and which one falls into minutes, which can also mess up my data analysis. So what I can do is this: I have to bring the data, I have to convert all these value to the same format. That is, every one of them should be in this format, like 2 hours, 5 minutes. And so for example, now this one that has 4 minutes, I have to add hours to it, like 0 hour and 4 minutes, so that everything can be consistent and I can now split them into different parts I want to split them on. So that's the first thing we need to do. Everything has to be in the same format. So for the first one, since I have this other one here, so what I need to do is, first of all, insert a column here that is going to carry out the pre-processing. So the first thing I'm going to do is this. Uh, Let me filter out the values that contain. Uh, okay. So let's check some of the value that we have here. So we have some that are less than 1 minute. So we have some that are less than 1 minute. So let me first of all deal with that one too. So select the one that has less than 1 minute first. So uncheck all and select less than 1 minute. So the one that has less than 1 minute, I just want to convert them to zero because less than 1 minute for me is zero. So just put zero, represent them with zero. So anything that has less than 1 minute, let it be zero. So that is solved. So the next one I want to do now is I want to filter those people that contains only hours. And I noticed one thing about this data set. Some of them are in hours, like this HR, and some of them are in HRS. So I'm going to filter out those particular one. So clear the filter here and filter those that contain only hours. So I'm going to click ends with hour or ends with that's my filter or ends with hours as HRS. Then I have my data format. You can see I have hours. So what I need to do for this one is uh, just feed them in. So I'm going to create a concat now. Like I'm going to create a new text for it so that those that have only hours, I'm going to add minutes to the end of it. So it will be 1 hour, 0 minutes. Since they don't have a number of minutes, so I'm going to put 0 minutes as the last something. So equals to concat, select this, comma, put a space in quotes, comma. We have the and also, and comma, another space, then comma, in quotes, 0 minutes, and close the brackets. You can see now, I already generate 1 hour 0 minute for this so that all this format can be have the same thing. So I can drag this one down to this and have this. This is good. Now another one I want to do is like I want to filter out those people those ones that only ends with minutes, that only have minutes. You understand now? So let me clear the filter. So those that have only minutes, text filter. So I can just for these ones, I will just put um does not contain hours or hour. So those ones that does not contain hours or hours, that's what I'm going to like filter out. So does not contain hour and does not contain okay, does not contain hours. So we can see now these are the ones that does not contain hours. They are ones in minutes. They are quite large. So what I can do now to fill up this particular one is just let's select everything to write the formula because dragging it down might be a bit stressful. So I should have some of this thing here. So I'm just checking what I have here. Okay, improving data. So yeah, so I have the data set now. So what I need to do is just select the thing from up to down and let's go to the next one. Let's select everything. So what I want to do now is this. I still have some of them that says that 1 minute data is are actually being filled with zero. So what I want to do is this. I want to fill only the blank space with the formula I'm about to write now. So to set that, to fill only the blank space with the formula I'm about to write, so I'm going to select this, find and select. So go to, so when I click on go to, I'm going to select special and I'm going to select blanks. So what this one is doing is that the formula I'm about to write down only fill it up to only the blank space that I have there. So the ones that I already filled up don't fill up the formula, it's only the blank space. So I'm going to click OK. Then I can type my formula here. So equals for this one is going to be concat. Sorry, concat. Then we have the minutes here. So for this one, it's going to be 0 hour. So 0 hour in quotes, comma. So I'm putting space again, 0 hour space, comma, and I'm trying to create the same thing for this one. And what? And this space again, and this number of minutes. Okay, sorry. I missed that. So shit. So I have to type this thing again because so I have to select this thing again. So let's go back to the down part. So just take this. So select everything again. So and go to this, go to special and blanks. Okay. Then I type in the formula again. So equals to this time I have to be very careful. So concat in quote 0 hours, comma, space, comma, and Okay, comma, zero, next one is space, one comma. I select this one and close the bracket. Now, for me to now enter this value to the blank cells, I won't click enter. So for me to enter it to every cells that are blank here, I'm going to select Control Enter. So we are not going to use enter here, so it's going to be Control Enter, Control Enter. You can see, and all the cells that blanks are filled. So what I want to show you now is this, because part of this data set we have some less than 1 minute that are showing, and it's not affecting them. It's only affecting the ones that are blank, and that is that one. So we actually undo some of the data set that actually have hours and minutes. So the next one we need to do now is those ones that actually contain the right format that we have. So we have to fill them in also. So if I click on clear now. So for these ones that have 2 hours, 5 minutes already, so I have to fill them all to the originality. So for this one, I'm going to select the same row of data sets. Just can see those ones that I'm just going to click on control last part. So select everything again. So we have to select it to the last part, the end. So for this one, this has a few. So what we need to do now is I'm going to go to special to fill in the blank cells also. So go to special and select blanks and click OK. Automatically it's giving me some blanks here. So for this blank now, what I'm going to do is like equate it to the what the original data set. That will be equals to the cell name. That's that, and I'm going to press Control Enter. And all other ones are actually filled up. You can see they are filled up with the correct value. So that is that. So we actually pre-processed data set and there's no missing value for this one. So everything has been done. So how do we confirm that? If you check here now, you can see that the length of data is the same to 10,206. And for this one is 10,206. So what I can do now, so after pre-processing that one now, so I have the data set clean. Everything has been clean. So what I can do is just I will copy this one and paste it as value here. So paste it as value. Yeah, that's that. So you can delete this row. So this is the time. So after getting the time now, so the next thing for me is to use the text to column or text to column to split them or to extract the number from it. So I already have the 0 minute and 15, 0 hour 15. So those are 0 minutes with 0 hour, we know that down 0 hours. So for me to extract, I can insert some of the variable that I needed 2 columns here to extract the minutes and the time. So let me disable the filter. So what I need to do now is select all the value. So come to text to column. Okay. So come to text to column under the data tab. So text to column. Now the columns are delimited. Let's just say delimited. So click on next and delimited by let's use space. You can see automatically it has split the whole thing to hours, minutes, and time based on this delimiter thing. So for this one, I only want to extract the minutes, the hour and the minutes, the hour and the minutes time. That's what I want to extract. So after doing that, I click on next. So in this case, I will have to skip the column that I don't want to import. So for example, this hour and the minutes, I don't want to import them. So what I'm going to do is like the column that I don't want to import, click or select it and click do not import. So the next one is and to click do not import because I don't need them. And this general do not import. So what I need is only the hours and the minutes. So that's what I need. So I'm going to click finish. And you can see now, we have the hour here and we have the minute here. So I can name this one as hour, and this one is the minutes. So since I've gotten the hours and the minutes, now let's just check some of the things that we have in there. So to know how to do that, so let's check some of the things that we have in there. Let's enable the filter option to see under the home. So we select filter, and you can see everything is actually well. For this one, so we have blanks. Those that are blanks are actually zero. Yes, those that are blanks as are what as zero. So yes, that's that. So what we can do now is this. So we have to convert this hour to minutes. So for us to have everything in minutes, so I'm going to click uh hour underscore minutes to create the hour minutes. So it's going to be equals to the hour multiplied by 60. So the hour multiplied by 60, is zero. That will give us convert everything to minutes. So we have everything here now. Everything is converted. So we have the minutes and the hour. So to convert everything to minutes, I'm going to click on insert and add everything up. So the hour, the one that we have in minutes and the hour that we've converted to minutes, add everything up. So everything will now be in minutes equals to this plus, no, sorry, equals to this plus this. Then we have our time in minutes. So I can copy this one, copy. So that's our original time and paste it here as value. You can see we have our time. So I can delete all of that row that I have here. They are not needed anymore. It's just part of the pre-processing. Delete and delete. So this is our time. So time in minutes. So if we process the time column, and that's that one. So the other one that looks like it is the rating. So the rating also has some issues that is kind of like related to uh time in minutes. So this thing will be our assignment. So I'm going to be sharing the sheet with us. So that will be assignment for data cleaning. So like okay, so another form of data cleaning issue that we have with this data set is with the price. Now, if you check the price column, you notice that some of the price value are free, while some of them are the actual price. Now, having free and having the actual price in the price column can cause a kind of like inconsistency in data. So it's better to just have everything in the same format. So for example, that free are text, while the price, the other ones are what are numeric. So instead of having text and numeric in just a single column, it's better to convert everything to just a single data type. So what I'm going to be doing for this is this. Those that are free, when the particular audiobooks are free, then we can also term them as the price has been what? Being zero. So in that case, we are going to convert every rows that are free for the price column to what? To zero. And we can do that by just selecting the price column, selecting everything, and go to find and replace. So for the find and replace, click on find and replace. So what am I looking for? So I'm looking for free. So whatever you see free, so and replace. What am I replacing? Is replacing with zero. So find and replace. So I'm going to click replace all, and you can see it said it has replaced 12 rows. So I click OK and I close it. So if I went back to check my data, my price column, now you can see that now it is zero and there's no other field now. So in this case now we have a consistent data set. And that's another form of what data cleaning issue. And that will wrap it up for our data cleaning for this session.